we're not done just yet for the TI8 China qualifier group stage, as it turns out, because we have a three-way tie. Keen Gaming, LFY, and IG all locked together on 4-3. They are over that breaking line for the top 4. There's only 2 spots remaining in the top 4 for the Dream and Team Serenity, already sitting pretty in spots number 1 and 2, and we're going to have to see which 2 teams out of these 3 will be joining them. So the first match is going to be Keen Gaming versus LFY. I would guess that we're then going to have the loser of this match play up against Invictus Gaming, and if the one team loses 2 games in a row, then we wouldn't have to play the third one necessarily. So that seems like the sensible way to go about things. So minimum we have 2 games. I think it's maximum 3, because after one round of games, I think they might just use some other method of breaking the ties. I think they might look at results against the other teams and whatnot. And speaking against results against the other teams, let's talk about the results among these 3 teams. So there's actually a little bit of interesting history here.
10 seconds
as far as the round robin group stage performance went, LFY came out on top. They beat both IG and Keen, and IG actually beat Keen in their best of 1 as well. So as far as that ranking is concerned, there's a very clear LFY, IG, Keen. But there's a little bit more interesting context if you go back to the open qualifiers. So obviously IG were invited directly, so they didn't have to play opens. But in the first open qualifier, in the round of 8, LFY were actually 2-0'd by Keen. And then they went on after that here in the actual qualifier itself, or the closed qualifiers, to actually beat them 1-0. So this should be a pretty interesting game. I think either one of these 2 teams could win. They both seem pretty familiar with one another's drafting. Keen getting rid of some pretty similar heroes to what we saw FTD banning out in the previous game, but LFY are coming in here off of a loss, and Keen Gaming, they probably thought that their tournament run was over a little bit earlier, so I think there is something to be said here about mindset. LFY went into that last game as masters of their own destiny. They were in control. If they'd won that game against FTD, they wouldn't even be here. We'd only have a 2-way tie between Keen and IG, and LFY would be sitting pretty, waiting for those playoffs to start tomorrow. So hopefully they're not too down in the dumps. They're not feeling too defeated. I'm not sure if the tiebreaker condition here is time rating. I hope to God that it's not, if we have another 3-way tie. But the like and pick is certainly going to help if it is. We've seen this banned against LFY a decent amount over the course of this qualifier as well, so not too surprising to see it picked up. And Keen Gaming actually just going to kind of stick to the laning focus. They were probably watching that last game that LFY were playing, because they were cheering against LFY for sure. They want as many opportunities to keep their hopes alive here in the China qualifiers as possible. So they were probably happy when they heard that IG lost to Youngdom, especially given that Youngdom were just playing spoiler in that case. They were already eliminated from the competition, but they have seemed to find a little bit of fire here on this last day of the round robin, and they did actually notch a couple of wins today. So they beat IG and they beat IG Vitality. So they end the group stage with, what, a 3-4 record overall? So close. So close. One more win and they could be here in the tiebreaker with everybody else. Alright, LFY, super sustained lane with the Lycan and the Warlock. Doubt that they can really spam the Lycan out here. He's got the Feral Impulse regen, and he's going to have the Warlock heal. I like the Warlock a decent amount against the Elder Titan. You know, the stun from the Golem goes pretty deep, so fairly easy to cancel a crucial stomp that might be a problem for your teammates. What else? The upheaval and the bonds actually make it pretty difficult for ET to run into a fight. Like we saw in the previous game, Alpha was able to do quite a bit of work by just positioning himself nicely and making sure that the aura was being applied, but not so easy against Warlock to just run in as an Elder Titan. So Void banned, PL banned, Brewmaster also going to be banned out. We've been seeing quite a lot of that hero in the China qualifier. I don't know if it's actually been that successful though. Let's see if our Dota buff on top of this stuff. Can I filter this by region?
10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining.
Esports, the International 2018. Looks like maybe I cannot. Or can I? Actually, region. China, nice. More. Pick some bands. Let's go heroes, actually. Alright, so Marana has the best win rate. She's got 7 matches played, and she's got an 85% win rate. So there are a couple of 100% win rate heroes, but Marana really stands out at the moment. And how is... So Bristleback, 1 game, 100%. How is... Man, what hero were we even looking at? Man, Lushrak is doing really badly. 7 games, but only a 14% win rate. DK, remaining. 5 games, 20%. Beastmaster, only 25%.
5 seconds
how
remaining.
Is Warlock doing? 3 games, 66, so 2-1. Pretty decent record. Lena actually doing decently. Only 2 games played so far, but 100% win rate. Obviously, there's not a ton of games here, and there's a bunch of ignored heroes, but still paints a pretty interesting picture of the China region at the moment. Oh, it was Brewmaster I was looking at. Yeah, Brewmaster, 4 games, 50%. So, you know, nothing too crazy. Razor is the pick here. Okay. I don't know if I like the Razor that much, and I'm a little bit surprised that they don't just pick their position 5 hero. I think the Razor is decent against the Lycan in lane, but I'm not even sure that that's the matchup that they're going for. And I don't know if he's really all that good after that point. Lycan does a lot of damage with summons. He's extremely fast, so sticking a static link on top of him is not easy. There is certainly some synergy with using the Elder Titan sleep with the link, though that is a little bit more difficult these days with unstable current, potentially waking them up before you want it to. So have to be careful with your positioning. And LFY gonna go for what I feel like is a fairly forgotten hero right now, is the Tusk. And I think he's being forgotten for good reason. Not really all that strong in the kind of dual lane meta that we're seeing right now, especially with the nerfs that he's received patch after patch after patch after patch. But LFY seem to like the idea of some counter initiation against the ET, against the Beastmaster especially. So they're going to have that snowball save potentially this game. We'll just see how easy it is for Tusk to be able to get in there and use that. There could also happen that the Beastmaster gets the roar off on somebody, and then ET just positions the Spirit in such a way that Tusk can't just run over the top and get the snowball off successfully. So I think LFY have a certain concept here, but I'm not sure if it's necessarily going to work out. And their drafting overall between the last game and this game has also felt extremely reactive. I don't know if they're really being... I feel like they aren't building necessarily cohesive drafts in and of themselves, or just kind of responding to what the other team is doing, which I'm not a big fan of draft-wise, but we'll see how it works out for them here. They've still got 2 core picks to round things out. And Keen, I mean, I'm sure you just take your position 5 here, but or their position 4. Skywrath Mage is still in the pool if they wanted to do Beastmaster Sky. What position 5 heroes are good against Lycan? There is still a Bane, but that's not going to be that easy to use. I do like the Disruptor. Punish the snowball a little bit if too many people hop inside. The kinetic field is not super easy to use against Lycan, but if you do manage to land it on him, then that's some decent control. It does make their lanes potentially a little bit weaker. There's some synergy with the Disruptor and the Beastmaster Hawk, though, for glimpses.
Remaining.
The one angle that I could really see LFY actually taking here is potentially just going late. I don't really think that Keen Gaming's lineup, as it stands, necessarily scales that well into the late game. They are just looking for their mid hero, so they could still get some more carry potential from the mid lane, but...
Radiant team ban.
LFY, alright, just pick a Batrider. Okay, so not an easy hero for Razor to play up against. They don't have a lot of ways to deal with him. I mean, the Glimpse is somewhat useful, but not necessarily a perfect counter to the Batrider. And sort of fits... The one thing that I am a little bit
remaining.
concerned about is this Warlock. It feels like that long cooldown on the Chaotic
5
Offering
seconds
may slow
remaining.
down their lineup a little bit, whereas the Lycan and the Batrider, relatively short cooldowns, should be able to fight a little bit more frequently. And Keen are also a pretty fast fighting lineup in terms of being able to take fights all the time, pretty much only waiting around for the roar at any point.
LFY's turn
So
to ban.
it just comes down to these last two mid picks. LFY unfortunately do have to pick a little bit blindly into Keen Gaming, but they could run the Batrider mid, though I haven't seen that work out all that well recently. My view on Batrider might be a little bit biased right now because I think the only team that I've seen picking it has been TNC running it for Sam H, and it has
10
not
seconds
worked
remaining.
for them really at all. So we'll see.
5
Maybe this will be
seconds remaining.
a better Batrider game. At least they've got some team fight coming in from the
LFY's
supports.
turn to
and
pick.
not wanting to get cheesed here in the tiebreakers, they are just going to be banning out the Brood. As I said, both of these teams know a decent amount about one another, so there could also be some. This draft could be both of the two captains heading off one another, like ahead of time. So the Batrider pick might not even necessarily be for the heroes that Keen have right now, but
10
they're thinking
seconds
about the hero
remaining.
pool, and they're thinking
Radiant
about, okay,
team
what do
pick.
Keen need to put in this last spot to win the game, or what are they going to be comfortable playing here? And maybe the Batrider is a really good way to shut that down. LFY going to make themselves even more ulti reliant as they pick up the Death Prophet. Much more AoE team fight, pretty good against the Razor, doesn't really care about the static link necessarily. And a pretty good hero this
10
game in terms of
seconds
being able to
remaining.
buy a Yules and an Aeon Disc. I think always pretty handy to have
5 seconds
against
remaining.
the Beastmaster. So LFY draft looking pretty good. Keen have to pick something that doesn't care too much about the Death Prophet. Are they just gonna pick like Dragon Knight here? I could see them just picking Dragon Knight. It's another stun for the Lycan. It does okay in the lane against the Death Prophet. I don't love it necessarily, and I don't think Dragon Knight has been that good, but
Choose your hero.
okay, they are just going to go for Lifestealer instead, so I guess that means what? Razor is heading mid, Beastmaster off lane, and then Lifestealer is going to be there. Okay, so they want the Razor away from the Batrider, I suppose. I was focused too much on the Death Prophet matchup, but this is really about who is going to be laning against the Batrider, because they don't want Razor to just get completely dumpstered. And unfortunately, because they've picked the Disruptor, they've made their safe lane significantly weaker, so they need whatever the safe lane hero is to be able to sort of sit there and farm by himself. But so they have some Lifestealer vehicles. I mean, there's
10
like the
seconds
Hawk, which is
remaining.
always kind of a tenuous one, especially these days.
5 seconds remaining.
They pretty much only do physical damage, so I feel like it's very easy for LFY to itemize this game. Like, this Death Prophet could very easily buy Yules and Aeon Disc and Ghost and not really feel threatened because there's just no magical damage to speak of at all. There's like a Plasma Field, a little bit off of the ET Stomp, and then Static Storm and Thunderstrike, and that's about it. So I feel like this DP can quite easily just tank up and go from there. Switch over the overlays so you guys can actually see the top bar. There you go. Nice, 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 nice.
Prepare for battle.
Normally.
See, Keen I feel like I don't like Keen's draft that much, but I feel like they're fired up because they're like, hey guys, we got another chance to get out of this group stage. You know, they probably looked at that 4-3 record and like, is this good enough? It wasn't at first, but then a couple other teams dipped down to meet up with them. So we got Afu on Tusk, Super on Death Prophet, Inflame on Batrider, Yao on Warlock, Monet on the Lycan. On the other side, it's Yuna on ET, Dark on Beastmaster. Oh no, I've set myself up for failure here. I don't know these two players. I can look it up though. Let's see. Keen Gaming.
30 seconds to battle.
No, they don't go by anything other than these. What is it? Oh, so it's Ying and Tianming. Alright. And then finally we have, who's there? I don't know, they have a standard at the moment. Do they not have Mevius? Or does he have a different tag? Anyway, I've really set myself up for failure here trying to introduce the players, but it is actually going to be, is it 2 bounty runes apiece? No, it's going to be, yeah, 2 bounty runes apiece. Yeah, picking those up. It's actually, wait, is this side lane Death Prophet and Batrider heading mid? So they're actually still going to try and force this Batrider versus Razor matchup. I don't know if this is as scary for the Razor on mid lane as it is on the side lanes, because there isn't as much room for him to get chased down, but still not going to be fun. Disruptor's going to come in here and try and help out a little bit, and are they actually just going to dodge again? Yeah, alright, so Lifestealer's swapping over. He wants to be up against the Bat. Razor doesn't want anything to do with this lane. He doesn't have side lane items though, so this is going to be a little bit of a problem. And LFY even preparing themselves to swap anyway. They're already running the Death Prophet over, and then they will probably have the Batrider TP down, so I don't know. Lifestealer's just going to follow the Batrider. Oh god. Is this really the play? Oh. Harass him a little bit, why not? Force the rage. 6 stacks. How many stacks is too many stacks? Okay, so Lifestealer's chasing, who's chasing who? Batrider's chasing away Lifestealer, but Lifestealer wants to stay in the same lane. Razor gets a couple of seconds to farm. Disruptor is taking mid lane at the moment. Alright, Razor's waiting for his TP scroll, because he's getting run at by Bat, who's now level 2. This is just a complete mess. What's happening top? Let's go check in on that. Alright, so Monet's farming a little bit. I don't think that this harassment is really going to amount to too much. Warlock should be able to keep the Lycan up, and he's going to get okay farm. So let's follow this, the comedic antics of what's happening with Batrider, Lifestealer, Razor, and Death Prophet. Man, Disruptor's getting plenty of farm here. Look at this. He's CSing up a storm.
Dire structures.
My only concern is if they keep swapping like this, I think the Lifestealer and the Razor are going to end up falling behind. Maybe for now they have some CS to their names, so not doing too badly. And are LFY done with trying to swap up these lanes? Yeah, looks like maybe they are. Nope. Mad body blocks onto Yuna. He's going to be okay. Still manages to get the creep wave pull, so Keen Gaming able to keep on farming back over here. Super at least giving the Razor a bit of a hard time, bullying him since he is somewhat underleveled. But these 2 range creeps will help remedy that. Now up to level 3. Man, the Lifestealer is like a decent laning answer, but is the Lifestealer even that good this game? I think they saw the Batrider pick and just kind of crapped their pants a bit about the fact that, oh, we can't put this Razor against Batrider at all. He doesn't want to play that lane. But now they have a Lifestealer who also late game doesn't really play that well against Bat, and I don't think Nakes is particularly inspiring against Death Prophet or Lycan. This Lycan really feels like he's going to have a pretty darn good game. So long as they counter-initiate at least a little bit, if he gets roared, I think Monet is going to be just fine. And he can just turn up to the fights late as well after spells have been used. Disruptor, ooh, just barely gets the TP out over at bottom. Not quite enough damage. I think Inflame had that extra level in something that would have been good. Yao going to get dove underneath the tower. First Blood is actually over at top. Well, I said that the Lycan would be fine, but same cannot be said for poor old Warlock. Not a whole lot that Lycan can really do to help him out there. So Beastmaster has utter free farm. 23 and 5. Lycan still getting pressured a little bit. I don't know, maybe this Keen Gaming Tricore, if they just get out of the laning stage and start running at you, that's where LFY could be in pretty big trouble. Their 2 supports feel a little bit lacking this game, potentially. Illusion! Bat getting jumped on, take some harassment. That's about the end of that story. Ooh, Afu trying to keep his salve. How much longer can he hang on to it? Not long enough. Afu actually might end up going down here. One more auto attack from the Disruptor. Almost enough. Another dive up top. They really just want to go on this Warlock. And One is going to do his best to try and help him out, but looks like he's just going to get punched down. The Tusk does end up dying at mid. Yao's still healing up with the Shadow Word. He can juke through. Oh, he ate the wrong tree. Yuna's still on the chase. Dark with another set of actions is going to finish him off. Okay, so Disruptor came in here, put down a ward, and got one more Thunder. This is not looking great for LFY. Tusk not really putting any pressure on the lanes because he's not a hero that can pressure lanes. Batrider gonna pop the Firefly, but Lifesteal just goes right on him, and he's not even worried about the 3 stacks of Sticky just yet. Just holding on to the Rage. He's maxing it out pretty early on here. I mean, it's not the most surprising build. But Razor seems to be doing just fine. Super actually getting denied pretty heavily at mid. Doesn't really have a whole lot. Just working towards some phase boots. Because he really wants those against the static link. Disruptor getting going on. Does manage to get the kinetic field down. He gets up onto the high ground. He's got the Fairy Fire. He survives for now. Is he going to need to deny himself because of the Shadow Word? Razor now runs forward. Unfortunately, the Unstable Current hit onto the Tusk. So it won't be able to chase down the Death Prophet any further. Just ends up being Disruptor going down, but some space for the Razor to farm up. This Death Prophet is going to have to head back and tap that shrine.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Disruptor was just a little... It must have been the very last tick that killed him there. Because he could have just suicided the Ancients if he wanted to. Dark getting punched. Tusk does have all of his spells available, so he can block off this ramp. Dark, I think, is kind of realizing the situation that he's in right now. Oh, alright, that snowball's gonna finish him off. Oh, Death Prophet at mid lane. These dives from Keen. They're just going under the towers and killing you there. And this is creating so much space. Inflame forced to just cut waves at bottom. He's gonna get his clarity cancelled at the very least. Can he get Disruptor's clarity? No. Clarity survives. Yuna with the solo shrine. And wow, this tier 1 tower is already very low, in fact. Alright, this Lycan's gonna have to do some work. Does almost have his Dominator. So there's some kill potential there. And looks like another attempt on Super's life at mid. He's got these phase boots, but he's not particularly tanky. If he runs forward for some CS, could end up going down. Very difficult if he gets caught in the sleep, and he's just going to get kinetic fielded and probably killed off. Oh, there's the sleep, there's the link. They're going to try and turn this around. He's throwing out the Spirit Siphon for dear life, but down he goes. Nice lasso from the Batrider, but where's the follow-up damage? You just have to try and run him down. They've got the snowball coming through. It's going to catch onto both of them. Inflame making the nice rotation. Looks like this is going to be LFY finally getting something. Lifestealer also coming over now. Afu down. Glimpse is on cooldown. There is a kinetic field, but looks like Inflame should be okay. It doesn't have the Firefly anymore, actually. Yeah, he's got Shrine. And he'll be just fine. And Lycan died?
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Solo killed? Well, everyone else was mid, right? So was that just Beastmaster just straight up solo killed Lycan? That's not a good look. All right, Lycan, you gotta get him back. You gotta use this Dark Troll Summoner along with your ulti. Go and find a kill somewhere. Who is actually the most valuable target right now? Oh, they're all about equally worth it. Lifestealer is not going to be very easy to go for with Rage and Infest.
Dire's
But, they are
tower
smoking their Lycan
attack.
over towards mid lane. This gank is a little bit telegraphed because of the lack of a Lycan in the safe lane, but they're still looking for it. I mean, you just look at Fraser. He knows exactly what's going on. Yeah, Radiant Scan pretty much reveals it completely. So I'm just going to use the Thunderstrike. They're going to come running in here, though. Alright, it looks like it's just going to be Disruptor to fall. Also going to be TPing in the Lifestealer here. Disruptor surviving a little bit longer. Lifestealer pops through the creep. There's going to be an Exorcism pop to use the Rage. He actually needs to be really careful about this. The Lycan ultimate's still running for a little bit too long, and he's just suicided here. They are going to finally get the roar on the Lycan, though. Dark making the rotation. Double kill for Razor. Super still getting chased down. Looks like those phase boots are going to get him out of harm's way.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Alright, that was really weird.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
But I guess Lifestealer TPing kept them there, so it did actually set up for the later kills.
Has fallen.
Just did not look like the smartest play that I've ever seen. That was an exorcism used not to get any damage on the tower at all, though. So I might actually call that a win for Keen. Especially given that that was supposed to be a bit of catch-up for Lycan, and just ended up dying anyway. Beastmaster is just going to be going for the Necrobook build this game. I am a little bit surprised not to see a Shadowblade from him, but this does signal that Keen are very much on a 5-man kind of game plan. I guess hoping to punish the relatively long cooldowns of LFY. So what are his other options? He could go Medallion, which is okay, but I don't think he really needs it. I'm personally a pretty big fan of Shadowblade. Their initiation is not so great, but it does really seem like they're just planning on 5-manning. You look at this Lifestealer, he's going Armlet Deso. The Razor's wasting no time either, he's just going for a drum. It really seems to me that they're hoping to take this early game lead and then just jam it right down LFY's throats. And it's a really good way to play against the Batrider. So, as much as their heroes have a couple of deficiencies, I think, against the Bat, this game plan is something that Batrider is really not equipped to deal with until he gets, like, Blink 4-staff BKB, which is a lot of farm for Inflame to grab. He is the #1 net worth hero on LFY, but I think that's more of a sad sign for LFY than it's a good sign for Inflame. They do have the Chaotic Offering. They're looking for this fight over at mid. Exorcism up in 15 seconds time, and it is going to end up being a tier 1 for tier 1 trade across the map. What creep is like it? Just has a Hellbear Smasher and Dark, along with the Disruptor rotating over. They've got the Static Storm up. Roar's also off cooldown. They're backstabbing this Death Prophet. Super going to go and hide in amongst this team, but ET Stomp scouts them out. Doesn't connect onto anything. The Lifestealer now also TPing in. He's got the He's going to do big damage. They're going to try and focus down the Lycan. Can they actually do it? Monet is barely surviving. He's stuck inside of the kinetic field. Super also getting punched down. He's glimpsed back. Keen Gaming looking like they're doing it here. They do end up losing one, and the Fatal Bond's actually doing good work, but they can't quite finish off the Lifestealer, it looks like. He's getting kited around somewhat by the Sticky, and Afu will close the door on him with the Ice Shards. Ends up being a 3-for-3 fight at the end of the day, pretty much completely carried by the Warlock. Chaotic Offering along with the Fatal Bonds just killing off everybody. I mean, no one else really did anything, but still. Actually, well, I didn't even see the numbers. But I think that's pretty good for Keen. The fact that they can pick themselves up now and just go right back to fighting, whereas LFY can't do anything for like 80 plus or 120 plus seconds, should mean that Keen find a couple of pickoffs here and maybe find another objective. I do kind of like the way that they're playing this. Oh, Super. No Yules. I don't think there's any way out of this for him. He immediately throws down the 2 Spirit Siphon. Just going to try and stand his ground. The Lifestealer is pretty healthy, so at the very least he is healing a lot off of the Siphon, but he's going to get glimpsed back. Snowball save attempted. Can they actually keep Super alive? It looks like they will be able to. There's no Infest for this Lifestealer. He's got Armlet Toggles and he's got the Sick Charges though, and the Razors now also arrived. They just can't quite seem to kill him. Can he get the Infest damage? They don't even need it. They've got the Axes flying in from the other side. Now the Roar onto the Tusk. Yao is low. Inflame is doing everything that he can. 18 wand charges on the Lifestealer. Gets those off. Will get into the Rage, but still finished. So Inflame will lose his life for that kill, and it's going to end up being a 2-for-3. Lycan nowhere to be found. TP Scroll on cooldown for Monet. No Shapeshift. He was just busy farming up over in the Radiant jungle, and then it's going to end up being another winning fight for the Keen Gaming side. But LFY are going to have another opportunity to rebut in just a bit. 50 seconds. They've got 20 seconds to go on the Exorcism. Super is not happy. Super had a pretty shocking game. Not a shocking game, but he had a pretty bad game on the Dragon Knight last game. And these are his heroes, Dragon Knight and Death Prophet, and just doesn't really seem to be on his usual form. Dodge on the Stomp there. I don't know if he would have died, but he would have taken a bunch more damage. Would have got axed in the face. Tier 2 is almost dead. Stark still keeping the pressure up. Monet popping shapeshift to escape? To farm? There isn't really anybody nearby him at the moment. I don't know. And Razor just going to be going for a BKB. Yeah, King Gaming are very much on this. Let's just 5-man and win the game before LFY really even come online. And that seems to be working. LFY are looking for a pick-off. They've got the Batrider blink. What do they see? They got some vision over here behind the mid-tier 1 tower, so that's definitely going to be the angle that they take. Also have the Chaotic Offering. Still no shapeshift for 80 seconds, though. So they don't really have Monet contributing to this fight.
Radiant's middle tower
King Gaming just playing together, waiting for this Lifestealer to pick up his Desolator. After that, if they win a fight, or even if they force some big ultimates, they can quite easily head into the Roshan. Oops. So onto the Beastmaster. These TPs are taking a little bit. Can actually finish this kill. They've got the snowball coming in from the shrine. He does manage to grab the tower. Will be brought down.
The next time you want to feed my bat.
And Lycan split pushing all the while, so they won't be able to shove these lanes out and immediately get back on the map for Keen. Anything that LFY can do to delay. Every pickoff. Well, Alfu's almost got a blink, in fact. Alright. I was a little bit worried about the snowball actually being a save against the Roar, but looking like they should be able to do it. Oh, glimpse him back into the stomp. Run forward. Can he get the snowball off? He's going to hope for it. But they drop the Static Storm on his head as well, and Yao is not willing to Chaotic Offering to try and salvage that. There isn't a fight to be taken without these two ults, so let the Tusk die. Save it for now. Keen continuing to exert some more pressure over here, and another ward just getting missed. Just barely by the sentry. Oh, Flame was feeling confident, but he just got straight up roared and will be brought down very, very quickly. Unfortunately for the Dire team, for LFY, they've put all of their vision over on the Radiant side of the map, but that isn't really where Keen want to be playing. They need the Lycan to keep on pressuring bottom so that they can actually utilize these wards a little bit, but it's not that safe for him this game. That's the problem when you're playing against the Beastmaster and Disruptor. You never quite know if you're going to get glimpsed back into a Roar, or if the Beastmaster's running at you. At least you can kind of see the idea behind these wards now, right? Lycan applies pressure bottom. There are people getting ready to come and gank him if he pushes too far, but he knows exactly what's going on, so he can kind of play this bottom lane to the max and continue finding some really nice farm. But we'll have to see if he's going to be able to start carrying these team fights once he gets the Necrobook picked up, because this Death Prophet is just so far behind. Super has barely any farm, doesn't have the level 12 just yet. They're smoking to their wards, but this is a dangerous fight. King Gaming are near their shrine. They at least know that the Elder Titan is over towards mid, but this is a really dangerous jump. If that shrine gets tapped, they're trying to drag him away from it. Razor, can they burst him down? They've got the Fatal Bonds into everybody. Razor's actually dropping really quickly. The shrine is going to get used, but not really helping too much. Lifestealer getting kited around, and the Death Prophet is actually surviving through everything with the Siphons. Can they even kill Super? He kites off to the other side of the fight. It looks like LFY are doing it. They do manage to pop out the Lifestealer. He gets a little bit of a heal. Razor buying back, but looks like it might just be for a second death. Lifestealer also buying back. Team Gaming are just throwing bodies at this, and it's Monet finding a triple. Yao might even manage to TP out in the face of the Lifestealer. They lose the Tusk and the Death Prophet in the end, but it is a 6-for-2 fight. We'll just wait for that fight recap to finish processing, because that is going to be an enormous win. Oh my god. 3.3k, what? 3.2k gold. Another 4k experience swing? Oh my word. Plenty of damage done on both sides, but Super, the amount of damage that he did relative to his net worth in that fight was huge. And the Warlock as well. The Fatal Bonds has actually proved to be so valued. With the Exorcism running and the Firefly down, the Razor just absolutely melted. Didn't have a chance at all. But Keen, I mean, their lineup and the way that they're playing, they have to pick themselves up. They have to brush themselves off and try and find some kills. Lifestealer could go for an infest if he wanted to come along for this smoke. They do need his damage.
Are scanning.
Ooh. Dire scan. I don't know if they've realized that this is happening, though, since it did clip the lifestealer a little bit. I really feel like they need his damage, however. Alright. Courier, not really worth taking, but they know that there's something at the end of this path. Unfortunately, Dark won't even manage to get off the roar. Nice lasso coming in from In Flame. They're going to lose the Disruptor quickly. Lifestealer doing his best in these fights, but he's getting controlled by the punch. He does manage to hop inside a creep, and that's going to be his way out of here. But LFY are going to hunt for more. They've actually got the Shapeshift coming off cooldown soon for the Lycan. Unit, they get chased down, they get the Yules off, and this is going to be a very dead Elder Titan, and looking like LFY at this point are starting to take control of this game. The long cooldown ultimates are starting to matter less and less as we go on. And there's still tier 1 towers standing
Top tower is under attack.
around the map.
Radiant structures are fortified.
Yeah, I thought LFY were getting punished, but turns out not really. Still a good Batrider game. Lycan's farming really nicely. They haven't really been able to control him. Super having a bit of a slow one, but his teammates more than making up for it here. Oh, they are going to... Wait. That hoax went absolutely nowhere. And they went right back where he was. So they defend the tier 1, but there's also farm happening for Afu over on the other side. And Keen now just hoping that this Desolator plus BKB timing for the Razor is going to be enough for them. They need to win a fight so that they can take Roche, but winning a fight is not easy. LFY still have pretty much everything off cooldown, so they're actually the ones itching for a little bit of a battle. Yeah, picking up a Glimmer, the defensive items coming out from the supports. Yuna even just trying to buy a BKB, realizing that the only way that they're winning this game is if everybody just pops BKB, runs in, and they can hopefully beat LFY to death before they can do anything. They only do physical damage pretty much. Oh, nice initiative, nice counter initiation for the Disruptor. He played dumb, but there's a great snowball save. So Batrider's still just fine, and now they're all trapped by the shards. Razor getting pushed back a little bit, just gets completely torn apart by the Lycan, who keeps on running through. Now he finds the Disruptor. They've got the Lifestealer lassoed up. He'll be the next to fall. Monet gets himself a triple. Afu's even looking for more, gets a little shard block onto Yuna. Unfortunately, this team can't quite chase that far, but all you need to know to know the state of this game is that Tusk currently has himself 10 rune charges. LFY have just been winning fight after fight after fight. Great place for them to win a fight as well, as they now head into the Roshan. ET also getting caught out here. The sticky stacks are adding up, and I mean, it's just the supporting cast from LFY, but they're going to find yet another kill. Aegis on the Lycan. And now what? Now it's a 7k. Oh no, this game is mega over. I don't know what they do from here. Lifestealer's only going to get kited more as the game goes on. There's going to be Force Stabs, BKBs, Ghost Scepters. You name it, LFY are going to have it. Same kind of story for the Razor. Beastmasters, still no initiation items, so his only option is just to walk up. And they do have Glimpse potentially. Roar coming in, but Dark immediately has to turn tail and run. That's just a completely wasted Roar. And the Necrobook also being activated. LFY only 75 seconds to go on their Chaotic Offering, and they are firmly in the driver's seat. Really taking revenge against Keen. They 2-0'd them out of the open qualifiers, but it could be LFY here knocking Keen Gaming out of the closed qualifiers. If they lose this, they will still have to play up against IG, but I believe if they lose that game, then we won't play the... There's no need... Oh, actually, yeah, they won't bother breaking the tie between IG and LFY, since it'll just be a seeding thing.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Well, tier 2 down soon. As much as it's difficult for Batriders to initiate into a 5-man lineup, it's also really difficult for a Beastmaster with no initiation item to do the same thing. So, LFY just taking complete map control. Necrobook's doing a little bit of dewarding as well, certainly
Dire's
helpful.
bottom tower is under attack.
And yeah, Tusk is going to make this Lifestealer's life hell. Between the Snowball, Shards, Punch, Force Staff. Keen really struggling to... They really had to dig deep to try and find an answer to this Batrider. Why did they even pick Razor? That's my question here. What made this a good Razor game at the time that they picked it? They try and go on Super, but he's A-okay. They just whiff the combo entirely. And looks like Elder Titan going to be dying once again, trying to get that backpack TP desperately out. No, he's being found. See ya. First off, buy a couple seconds, why not? Waste a little bit more time, juke around. Who gets the kill? It's going to be Super. They have all of their cooldowns. They're right in front of this tier 2. Top lane's not really getting threatened that much. LFY, I think they can actually just go high ground to force them back if they really want to.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Afu maybe has different ideas. Surely they just go high
Radiant's
ground. Look at
bottom
this.
tower has fallen.
Afu's like, no, I want to push out mid. He's getting pinged by Yao. He's like, no,
Radiant's
just come push their
fallen.
high ground. Don't worry about mid.
Radiant's bottom
We're
tower
super
is
strong.
under attack.
ET high ground defense would have been a little bit of a nuisance, but he's dead. Glyph's already been used, and
Radiant's
just
bottom
look
tower
at this
has
Rax
fallen.
melt. Flame jumping in, but just to force the
Radiant's
glimpse out.
bottom
It's actually a really nice play, because now the glimpse is on
Radiant's
cooldown, so they
bottom
can't really
barracks
chase
are
them
under attack.
when they leave. So now LFY
Radiant's
just
bottom barracks has fallen.
walk away. I mean, what's Dark doing here? He's running forward like he can make a play, but there is no play to be had. I think LFY can even just sit here and hit their shrine if they want to,
bottom
right?
shrine is under attack.
Maybe they don't want to fight with the Exorcism on cooldown. That's King Gaming's only window. They smoke right now. LFY can probably just sit right on this hill if they want to. Is that what they're pinging? Or are they going all the way back to base?
Radiant's
Alright,
bottom
Radiant
shrine
Scan
is
does
under
reveal
attack.
that there is nobody up this hill. There's no kill to be found, and yeah, LFY. Only way that they lose this is if they get caught without their spells. So it looks like they're just gonna go sit in their base for 77 seconds. Oh, and they know exactly what's going on. Dire Scan, Flame, jumps in, gets the lasso onto the Razor, and now they've got the Rock dropping down. Razor going to be able to pop the BKB and turn it around a little bit. They've got the Stomp, but everybody's hopping inside of the Snowball. They dodge the Earth Splitter. They've already lost one. Lycan taking some damage, but he does have the Aegis, chooses to recommit, wants to go for the Razor, chunk him down. Super's charging forward, one more nuke. The Lifestealer trying to find an Infest target. Can he get inside of Dark? Looks like he will be able to, but unfortunately, that trip just got cancelled. And that will be a triple kill for Super. Slow start, but Monet now godlike in LFY, despite losing 2. Still going to win that team fight extremely handedly, and now they are 13k net worth ahead. They could have even just not taken that fight if they wanted to, but they are just so far ahead. Feels like the Lifestealer's not doing anything. Razor's just getting bursted. He's even bought a plate mail just to try and survive, but doesn't really feel like it's doing enough. LFY? I don't know. They can do whatever they want. Could wait for Roche. Keep on farming. I think the game only gets easier
is under
from
attack. Radiant's bottom shrine is under attack. Radiant's bottom shrine has fallen.
Do they have any items coming up? Both of their heroes are buying AC. One of you guys needs to not buy AC. Please. Also Lifestealer, also Silence, also Snowball, also Walrus Punch, also dead. Monet beyond godlike. Maybe they should have banned this Lycan, but they're going to be riding on his back all the way through into that top 4.
Radiant's middle tower has fallen.
Yeah, why not?
Radiant's
Take the
middle
other
tower
shrine.
is under attack.
Maybe wait for another Exorcism. Play it nice and safe.
Radiant's
reason to
top
rush.
shrine has fallen.
They got the gem now on the Batrider, so can get complete map control. Beastmaster Shadowblade not really going to be doing that much at this stage. I don't know if the game would have been that different if he'd gone Shadowblade first. It seemed like Keen's plan was we might lose some team fights, but we're just going to win the game fast enough that they're not going to be able to always team fight us. Which I can kind of get, you know, if they'd won a really crucial team fight and they have the Necro 3, then I think the Necro 3 and the Deso, they can potentially take a lane of Rax. But they never quite got these early towers down quickly enough for that to work out, and LFY's team fight really just kind of came online. Not to mention the fact that the Leica was just AFK farming the entire time and now has his own AC. If he wanted that invis, nobody's gonna get it. Inflame takes to the skies and he is hunting for a kill. Will he be able to find something? Dark's TPing out. But LFY still very much in control of the map. Bot lane needs to be dealt with. I'm gonna head down there now. Alright, Razor is gonna be going for the Shivas instead. Lifestealer is going to be the one going for the AC. But they're still not really going to be able to buy anything to help deal with the fact that they're going to get kited. Like, if the Roar target gets snowballed, I think that's just the end of the fight for them. They have to somehow hope that... I guess they can drop the Static Storm on top of it so that there can't be a snowball to save, but... even after that, there's going to be... 4 stabs and Glimmer Capes. Level 3 Exorcism now for Super. Like I said, very easy for him to itemize this game. Doesn't even need BKB. Just grabs the Solar Crest and the Aeon Disc. Becomes pretty much completely unkillable. Tusk also picking up an Aeon Disc. FY. When's Roshan? Still a little while to go. At least a minute and a half. For a chance on one of these wards. What do they see? Inflame, who's he gonna spot? Looks like it might be the Razor first. Oh, he blinks forward, doesn't actually quite find him. Got the BKB, hasn't used his BKB just yet. Razor should just end up being focused down. No, they're going for the backlines first. Monet actually manages to find Dark. He's latched onto him and he's not gonna let go. Nice stomp, does buy a couple of seconds, but I don't think that's gonna be enough. Dark gonna be chased down on that side. Super with the Exorcism running, just focusing on the Lifestealer, who does hop inside this melee Necro creep, but now he's just part of Team Dire. Alright, Lifestealer pops out, tries to escape, but I think he's just going to get punched to death. Yep, quite literally. And LFY should be marching down the mid lane to close this one out. Yeah, alright. Keen Gaming are done. They're going to GG out. That means that they are going to be heading into the next match versus IG, while LFY will watch on, and if IG win that game, then LFY and IG I would imagine that is the system that they're using here. Yeah, I don't know. That Batrider pick worked out great for LFY, but the Batrider pick only worked because the Razor pick to me made no sense. I really don't know what Keen Gaming were planning with the Razor pickup. Like, I can understand that it's fast and aggressive and, a pretty good laning hero, but they didn't pick it into any particularly inspiring laning matchup. Like, they could have tried to put it up against the Lycan, but then the Beastmaster would have had to go somewhere else. And I really feel like picking that Razor just kind of messed up their entire lineup. And then they had to pick Lifestealer last. Yeah, it was a real mess. So that's going to wrap it up for this game, guys. I'll be back for the next game of the Tiebreakers in just a few minutes. Let me double check that that's actually...